Good afternoon, everyone. This is Mrs. Martin. Today we're going to be doing some food and culture research as it refers to how that affects our family and our well-being as humans. Throughout this, you should be able to experience culture as it relates to family in the home, and you'll be using food as that vessel, of course. You're going to be discussing different cultures, food in each culture, and then you'll actually get to work as a team to recreate a cultural dish, which is fun. So a couple things that you'll be able to do by the end of this. We're going to be looking at author's point of view and purpose in text. Additionally, we're going to be able to do some writing, whether that's over a couple of days through research or reflection, or just a day or two or a couple of minutes here and there. Additionally, we'll also be able to understand and evaluate factors that influence nutrition, specifically analyzing those of the cultural, maybe economic and social influences, and on food choices and other nutrition practices. So to start today out, we're actually going to start with a bell ringer. All right. So what I want to know is I want you to take the first 5 minutes or so to answer the following questions. Let me know, do you know what your family heritage or culture is? What's your background ethnically? What is one type of food that your family makes? I mean, is that related to your family's heritage or tradition in cooking? And then finally, what is one food you like and what is one food you dislike? Let me know why. Maybe there's allergies, maybe there's just certain things you don't like. So we're going to take about 5 minutes to do that. All right, now that we've done this, we're going to actually read this article called What Food Tells Us About Culture. This is by Chow Bilei, I believe. So now as we continue along, we're going to be talking about this food, what food tells us about culture. Now you've already read this, so we're just going to do some follow-up stuff. But a couple of the points I'd like to point out is that the main thing is we grow up eating the food of our cultures. It really does become a piece of who we are. And there might be feelings or emotions that are associated with that experience growing up. It's also important to recognize that traditional cuisine does pass between generations. It's not just our generation that is focusing on this cuisine or what it is right now, but this has come from a long line of generational cooking and experience. Now, one of the things that I do want to point out in this is how might food change with little additions or subtractions. This article really does go into depth about, folks who make food now, maybe it's a geographic reason that they don't include certain herbs or spices or pieces of the meal. Maybe saffron is really too expensive for us to purchase as a school district, so we may not include that in our meal. Additionally, some people might include more regional aspects to their dishes. For example, there's a company here that is a barbecue company, very common in this region. However, his wife, the owner's wife, is traditionally Filipino, and she does do traditional Filipino food in the restaurant. But one of the main things that they do to this point is that she creates this, it's a traditional Filipino type rolled taquito of sorts. However, instead of traditionally flavored Filipino meat, they use barbecue meat. That's a very good example of taking a Filipino dish and really making it regionalized here. It's quite extraordinary if you're in the area. All right, now we're going to get back to this. So families might change how they make their meals based on geography or, what their culture is in each location. Now, another important factor is that cuisine reflects, as it says here, the history of where it comes from, its culture. So, the United States is heavily colonized by European settlers, and as such, our meals and our traditions are following in line with that. Now, finally, we are going to have some discussion on heritage and tradition. What's your lineage? What's your background? All right, so let's go ahead and get right into that. Now that we have had some discussion, we're going to actually just jump right on into food and culture. So utilizing some of this information we've learned, we're actually going to do this quick slideshow about food and culture and traditionally represented dishes. So I'm going to start off by going through, and I'm going to show you this image. What do you think that image is? Where might this dish come from? And maybe can you note some of the specific ingredients that are in that? So of course this is a gyro or a gyro, however you would like to pronounce it. It is traditionally from Greece, and it does represent a sandwich, specifically lamb and beef, with maybe tomato and onion, a yogurt sauce or tzatziki sauce, and it's all wrapped in or on a pita bread. Now, this dish you were probably going to recognize. So, of course, this is sushi from Japan, but this is also sushi and sashimi. So here you can see the traditional sushi, which is a cold rice dressed with vinegar, formed into shapes, specifically with bits of raw seafood or veggies. Now, the sashimi is a Japanese dish of thinly sliced raw fish. So you can see that here and actually here, usually served on a bed of rice like this. So they are different. Now, I would, as a teacher, continue through the rest of these. They have a couple different options, and it's just a sampling, of course, of food options that they could get an idea of. So just to give you that background here. All right, so the next portion of our assignment is we're going to break into groups. Now, in this instance, I would give students the opportunity to pick student groups if they would like. Otherwise, you could also have them pre-selected here, as you can see, Group A, Group B, Group C, that they could pop in. And this might give you the opportunity to really help maybe struggling students with some of those students who are maybe excelling. You could kind of mix and match and really help formulate this, but it's really up to you as a teacher. So now, students, we're actually going to discuss and review with our group. Please take this time to just discuss the slides, review with any questions, write them down, ask me if you have any. Okay, guys? So this portion of the assignment is in your groups. We're going to head to the computer lab, and you're going to research a traditional country or cultural dish to prepare. As a group, you need to decide what you'd like to do. And then you're going to prepare a written form to be turned in today. You could also prepare a slideshow or graphics to go with your presentation. Of course, that's not due today. So some of the questions I'm looking for is, what culture or country are you wanting to represent? What is the dish? What ingredients are needed for the dish, and how much time does it take to make it? We do have a 30-minute timeline because we want to make sure to get those dishes made as well as present them. Now, what tools do you need to prepare this meal? Do you need a mixer? Do you just need, a spatula? Kind of keep that in mind. What allergens or nutrition guidelines can you provide? We need to know if there's certain aspects of it that maybe we can't eat, or that certain people can't eat, or we need to understand how we're going to go about that. And what changes to this recipe are there in regards to our location? Is there saffron we maybe can't afford, or is there a spice that we don't have here? And then what changes do you need to account for in regards to our class size as the serving amount? We want to make sure to prepare enough for every member to have some, and this is our class size. All right, so once they finish that, on day 2, they're actually going to go into some more research and preparation. Now, the intent of day 1 there is so that I can get an idea first of ingredients I need to make sure I have, make sure that they're on the right track with what they're making, that it's easy enough, but, still representing a culture, that kind of information. So today in your groups, you'll just need to define your research further. You're going to be writing a bit of a paper addressing the previous questions. You can certainly include them in, make sure that's there, but also include these ones. The final written statement will be due at the end of class today, so I can make sure that this is all kosher for the next class. So what cultural elements or influences does your dish represent? Are there any geographic cost, prohibitive ingredients? How does the dish impact nutritional standards as we know them? And how does this dish impact health and wellness? Are there nutrition guidelines you can include in this? So this portion is really going to help us as teachers make sure that they're hitting those objectives and understanding how this affects nutrition and wellness, but specifically, culturally, geographically, any of that information there. So they might pick a dish that's, relatively simple because their area might not have income to purchase a lot to make a complicated dish. So that should be included here. Now, finally, day 3, preparation and presentation. In the groups today, you'll get the opportunity to prepare your cultural meal. You'll have 30 minutes to prepare your dishes, and then you'll present your dishes and findings to the class. Again, please make sure to have enough for the entire class. And this doesn't mean everyone has to have a full meal. This really just means that, like if it's sushi, there's one piece for everyone that would like to try it. Now, please present your dish to the class, including information from your research statement. Please do not simply read from your paper. Of course, we want this to be presented just like you were maybe serving it at a restaurant to a customer. Make it exciting. Make them know that it's a really culturally exciting dish. Also, please feel free to use any prepared graphics or presentation slides that you may have used. Just let me know ahead of time that you will be doing them. All right, guys, that's the end of the presentation. If you have any questions, please feel free to let me know. At this point, students should be able to apply their reading and writing skills as they explore food as it relates to culture. They'll be able to relate certain dishes to applicable cultures or regions and understand how nutrition and food are influenced by culture or region, as well as to replicate this culturally selected meal. Thanks, guys, and have a good one.